Welcome back to Donington Park here in the East Midlands. Unlike the French Riviera, no rain just yet, although you never know in this part of the world if you come from this part of the world, if you come from England. Anyway, Piers Pryor here, our co-commentator and former GB3 driver. We need to discuss before we bring you the coverage of the reverse grid race in the GB3 Championship, that second race there, because we talked about Max Esterson and whether Max could start on pole and finish the race in first. And we saw exactly that happen, but it was also good to see Johan Granfors and Luke Browning on the podium as well to continue their sort of title challenge.
Absolutely. We said Max Esterson's looking really strong of late, and he converted that pole position to a convincing race win, only challenged at the start by Callum Voisin trying around the outside of turn one, and then ultimately the old hairpin at the bottom of the hill. Got forced wide and that cost him some positions, and then made the same mistake later on, so unfortunately Callum not being able to follow up his race win on yesterday. Max looking great, he's coming on strong. Also great to see Luke Browning up from 6th to 2nd that time with some great moves at the start, also going to the outside, so the outside of turn 1, Redgate looking like the place to be, and then Johan Granfors 3rd place. Browning now in the championship lead, very, very close to the front though. Yeah,
very important, especially in the sort of emotional side of things and the sort of mental going into this final race, you know, knowing that if you make up some places, you will finish that weekend on top. If you can finish, if Johan Granfors can finish ahead of Luke Browning, he will retake the lead, which is a lot to fight for. And Bryce Aaron starts on pole position. I know we're going to chat to him a little bit later before the race starts. He's really struggled in the high tech. We've seen Cian Shields already win a race last time out at Silverstone. Obviously Luke Browning's been on the podium quite a lot already. So as a driver, when you're on a team like that, you know, it must be hard when your teammates are getting the gold, getting the silver, whatever the trophies are made of. I don't actually know what the trophies are made of. We need to find out. Yeah. But it must be hard to see your teammates doing so well while you're struggling with the car.
Of course, you always want to be the team leader, but ultimately these championships, GB4, GB3, they're learning championships. They are designed to give the drivers an opportunity to build their knowledge, build their skills, get experience at the circuits. These are great circuits in the UK, but also these fast cars. And when they move up to the next levels, whether it be single seats or GTs, they feel like they're better, more at home. So they'll be learning from their teammates. Bryce, Cian, nowhere near as much experience in single seats as Max, because he's raced in America a lot, but Max has less experience at the circuits. So it's to and fro. We did see Cian and Bryce both get a podium in the final race at Silverstone last time out. So they both had a taste of the podium and the taste of that champagne. So yeah, they'll be hoping to go the same again this time. Bryce from pole, so if he can get a good start, maybe he'll see a result, a repeat of what Max Esterson did in race 2 from this weekend.
Absolutely, thanks Piers. We've talked a lot about the race coming up, but we still need to see, I mean, we talked about it a bit there, we need to see what happened in that second race of the weekend. It was the first race of today. So here are the highlights from race 2 of the weekend here at Donington.
Highlights then from round 8 of the GB3 Championship, which will be underway for the second race of the weekend. Max Esterson leading from pole position with Johan Granfors a better launch from 3rd as he would try and attack Callum Voisin on the run up towards turn 1. Luke Browning though from 5th position, 6th on the start rather, making a great start around the outside of Granfors into the first corner at Redgate. It was Callum Voisin attacking for the race lead. Down through the Craner curves into the old hairpin. It was Callum Voisin on the attack, Callum Voisin to the outside and Callum Voisin into the dirt on the runoff, and he'd be pushed down the order. He'd get dropped back behind the likes of Luke Brown and Granfors and then would attack Matthew Rees down into Redgate. He'd just hang on for now as Mackenzie Cresswell was battling it out with Krista Dulu for the back end of the top 10. Cresswell hanging on at least for now. James Headley going straight over at the Fogarty S's would cost him a couple of positions in the braking zone, but he'd hang on to 4th position for the most part. Javier Segura having the attack from Alex Connor. He'd started from 5th position and dropped back. Callum Voisin went into the grass and the dirt once again and the exit of the old hairpin. That would cost him a position to the charge of Matthew Rees. There was some side-by-side action as Tommy Smith was trying to fight his way back up the order past Zach Taylor, who then went on the attack of the two high-techs. Big moment for the other high-tech car of Luke Browning, chasing down our race leader of Max Esterson, who'd depart the final corner as a victor in the GB3 Championship ahead of Browning and Granfors. Well, let's take a look at standings for the GB3 Championship after 8 races. Luke Browning topping the championship at the moment by just 2 points over Johan Granfors. Roberto Faria and Max Esterson closing in at Donington Park, moving their way up the order. Tom Leben as well, not so much a great race in round number 8 with Callum Voisin, Mackenzie Cresswell, Matthew Rees, John Bennett and James Headley rounding out the top 10 in the standings. Behind that, Alex Connor. Zach Taylor had a great race 1 at Donington Park, but race 2 didn't go quite his way. What can he do in the third race? Cian Shields, then Brandon Oxley, Bryce Aaron, David Morales, Javier Segura, Nick Gilks, Tommy Smith and Mikael Grundtvig, the race winner back in Alton Park. The final 2 in the standings being Marcus Flack and then Nico Christodoulou, joining the championship and scoring points in the second race here at Donington Park.
Hi guys, we're Carlin's GB3 team and we've got 2 minutes to make our gingerbread race suit. Let's do it. Okay, that's a black race suit.
I'll need much more color black than this.
Okay.
Will you guys have napkins after this?
How have you guys got it like that? Mine's all lined. It's too much pressure.
This guy didn't pass painting classes.
Okay. So that's quite, yeah, I would say it's quite abstract art. So what could be if I was an artist, but I'm not.
This was the comparison. So actually, well, I would say not that bad, but it's that bad. And my suit is black and white, has some yellow stripes. This is my main sponsor. They will not be happy.
Here's mine. I've tried to get the Carlin logo in. It hasn't gone brilliantly.
As you are already disqualified, you have to choose.
Okay, between these two, his one is more like similar to reality. I would say that he won, to be fair.
It's good to start the year with a victory.
Well, and fresh out of the kitchen, we're here in the paddock with the drivers from Carlin. We've got Javier Segura, Roberto Faria and Callum Voisin. Now, I want to know whether the gingerbread there, and it's great artwork by the way, guys, I want to know whether the gingerbread maybe helps you, you know, is there some kind of special, you know, medicinal power of gingerbread that makes you go faster? I mean, you were pretty fast yesterday.
I'm not really sure if it helped or not, but for sure my art abilities are not as good as my racing abilities, so we all saw that we lost the gingerbread competition, but yeah, maybe it helped me for the race using another parts of my brain to process the gingerbread art thing.
Javier, who do you think was the best in terms of the artwork?
Well, I think I did cheat a bit with the with my hand, so. But yeah, I think it's the opposite. If you're better at art, you're not so fast now. So.
Are you trying to say that Callum was the worst at the art?
No. Oh. Well, he was the worst, obviously. But yeah, I think it was cool.
And it was a great day yesterday for the team as a whole, finishing P1 and P2. Are you hoping maybe for a podium today, just so that you're all on the podium this weekend?
Well, I think it's a bit of a difficult weekend for me. I think we're in a position that reverse grid race is also, I'll start like P10, P11, so it's not an ideal weekend, but I think it's finish it and focus on the next races.
Callum, you were very fast in qualifying P3 in your first victory in the GB3 Championship yesterday. Did the gingerbread help with that?
Yeah, I mean, it probably did, I think. But yeah, I mean, it was an amazing day yesterday, and I mean, I hope to repeat that again today.
Great to hear from you.
Well, these are the guys from Carlin, obviously powered by gingerbread. We'll see how they get on in the race, which is coming up in just a second. But if you just joined the coverage, you've not watched any this weekend, let's just remind you where we're racing this weekend here at Donington Park.
Donington Park, set in the Derbyshire-Leicestershire border up in the Midlands of England. A fantastic racetrack that the drivers do definitely love because of its high-speed commitment. The circuit, roughly 4 kilometres in length, requires bravery all the way around. Built back in 1931, it closed briefly before it reopened in 1977, and then in the early 80s they added in the Grand Prix Loop, a fantastic track full of high-speed commitment and plenty of overtaking opportunities as well across the 2.5 mile circuit. When you account for corners like Redgate, of course the old hairpin up towards McLean's and Coppice, down towards the Melbourne hairpin, there are so many overtaking opportunities around here and so much bravery required around a lot of the blind entry corners. It really is a great track.
So I'm here at Arden Motorsport. We've been chatting to some of the guys across this weekend already, but today is a big day in motor racing. Obviously we have 2 GB3 races and 2 GB4 races, which is the most important thing. There's also some race called Monaco, and there's the Indy 500 a little bit later over in the States. And I feel like that you're a good team for me to discuss this with. We've got an American, a Canadian, and a Brit. Are you a Brit? I mean, you live in Dubai, but you are British, fine, just double checking. Which of those races, if you could be at in the future, would you choose out of Monaco and the Indy 500?
Oh, I think obviously to race at Monaco in F1 would be pretty cool, but I think just the race itself, probably the Indy 500.
Okay,
it's it's a crazy race and probably one of the biggest races of the year.
Okay, 1 vote for America from Alex Connor. How about you, Nico?
Yeah, probably race in Monaco in Formula 1, and then I'd say fly a plane over the same weekend, do the Indy 500.
Well, I like that. Very, very productive. And how about you, David?
For me, it's actually pretty similar to theirs. I feel like in Monaco, it'd be hard to pass, but at the Indy 500, you can really set things up. But yeah, so for me, the Indy 500 for racing.
Would you also like to just do both? Is that the general gist of it? You'd all like to just do all the racing, every race, everywhere, yeah? Rally? Would you do rallying as well? Yeah, rallying as well, fine. I mean, Arden will just pretty much do any race that you put him into. I'm also going to find out from some of the other drivers in the paddock which race they prefer to do.
I'd pick Monaco because yeah, it's very intense and I like that.
How do you think you'd get on at Monaco if you actually got there?
Oh, the first few laps will definitely be. I don't even know how to put it, but intense. Yeah, so I think I'd get on well eventually, but it'll take me a little bit to, you know, grow some balls and get an inch off the wall. So,
a lot of sim work then, probably.
Oh yeah, lots of sim work and a lot of intense sim work. You know, like trying to make it as if the walls are there as possible. So, yeah, because I've never been to a circuit with you know, with walls literally an inch away from me. So, yeah, it'll definitely be an experience, and I'd love to do it one day. So.
Tommy Smith, let's get the Australian view on this. No skin in the game when it comes to allegiances. Monaco or the Indy 500?
Well, probably Monaco. I raced it last year and I crashed, but I was in regional. But no, probably, I don't know, Monaco, I guess. Indy 500 looks seriously insane. So, yeah, but they're both great races.
Well, just some thoughts there. I feel like we only had one American represented. So while I'm here with Bryce Aaron from High Tech, I need to ask you, Monaco or the Indy 500?
You really put me on the spot there, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know, I'd say it really, really depends. I'd love to do both. I think I have to say, at the minute, you know, Monaco would not sound bad at all, but also I just love the 500, so I can't really decide on that one. That's a bit unfair, I have to say, but let's say I wouldn't mind doing both.
Okay, and that's literally what the Arden guys just said. So, I mean, that's fine, that's fine. Maybe not as wet as Monaco has been today, maybe on a dry track, yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Monaco in the dry. In the wet, a bit sketchy. Not sure if I want to do my first run there in the wet, but hey, you know, if I got the opportunity, I'd do it. But yeah.
Okay, well, enough about other racing championships. We're going to talk about the race that's coming up today. It's the third race of the weekend, which means it's the reverse grid, which means you get the honour of starting in pole position. Now, you've struggled with the car a little bit. We've already talked about kind of off camera. Yeah. What are you hoping for in this race? Do you think if you get a good start, you can hold on for the win?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, we get a good start, we can definitely hold on to the win. We have got some good pace. You know, we got really unlucky in qualifying. These things happen. So, you know, we're going to push as hard as we can in the race, get a good start, pull lead out, and hopefully take the win.
Now, already we've obviously seen Luke Browning, you know, winning quite a lot, and we've seen Kian run a race at Silverstone. So it just means it's your turn now, right? So, are you jealous that you're not been on the podium yet? You know, do you get that kind of inter-team rivalry?
No, I'm not jealous at all. You know, these guys, it's good to see them winning. I'm happy for them. You know, they're really good guys. So the only thing I'd have to say, you know, it helps me almost in a way. You know, pushes me to be better. But only, you know, there's no jealousy. It's only me being happy for them.
Now we're just going to watch the onboard version, the onboard footage from your one of your laps in just a second. But in terms of the track here at Donington, you know, is it one of your favourites in the UK, or are there certain corners you struggle with?
No, I really like Donington in general. It's a really good track, high speed, flowing, so nothing not to like, especially with this new car we have this year, definitely a bit quicker, especially I think we're like 2 seconds now quicker than what we were last year, so definitely, you know, love it, you know, very quick. You know, definitely say it's a bit odd, you know, you have all this high speed stuff and then you get to the final sector and you have 2 very slow speed hairpins, but you know, I think it only adds to the challenge and I like that.
Finally, we've seen a lot of the parents of the drivers around. We saw Megan Jilks' dad was there as soon as she finished first. We've seen your father around here. Now he's flown in from Chicago for this race. Is it sort of a little bit more pressure having your dad here?
No, absolutely not. No, I'm really lucky with my parents. My parents are really, really supportive, and the only person that really pushes pressure on me is myself. So really having them here is just really, really nice, and there's no pressure from them.
That's great. Well, let's hope you can get on the podium, maybe even get that race win. Bryce Aaron from High Tech. We're going to watch what it was like going around the track in qualification yesterday here at Donington.
Here we ride on board Bryce Aaron in the High Tech GB3 car around Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. He's starting on pole for race 3 and he'll be hoping to have a nice open run to turn 1 and leading the race. He'll be concentrating on getting a nice good exit out of Redgate, the first corner on the first lap, because that will set his race up nicely. Difficult to overtake around this Donington Park Grand Prix circuit in these GB3 cars due to their high aero, but the unique challenge nonetheless due to the high speeds and undulations. Down just 1 gear through the old hairpin, using all the road on the exit, very nice through Starkey's Bridge. We then work our way up to Schwantz Curve to the Mclanes, where we saw the instance between Reese and Granville's yesterday. Aaron will be hoping that nothing like that goes on during his race. We then up to the blind Coppice corner. You'll see the car go light and oversteer through the exit there, and it's very, very tricky to get that corner hooked up in qualifying and in the races. Consistency will be key. We then make our way down the long straight to the Fogarty S's. You'll see how much commitment he used through here. curve on the left as we see, turn in, nice and early, curve on the left, curve on the right, very bumpy through there, but very well hooked up from Bryce Aaron. He'll be hoping to do that again in the races every single lap today. And then Melbourne hairpin. We can see he takes a very narrow entry, V'ing the corner off. Some different techniques being used by different drivers there this weekend. Let's hope that works for him this weekend. And then finally, the last corner, Goddard's very tricky in these GB3 cars. You can get understeer, you can get oversteer. Snatching a brake is so easy with the track dropping away from you, but nicely done by Bryce Aaron, our pole sitter for today's race 3.
We're here in the assembly area. Piers Pryor alongside me here. The assembly area, I have to just say, is quite away from where the commentary box is. So Piers, after we see the cars go, Piers sprints. I mean, I think you mentioned it before. I mean, I'm going to time it this time and see how quickly you get back. Anyway, let's get to the drivers.
I actually pulled a hammy, so it's going to be slow.
Okay, well, we're going to get some assistance. We're going to get one of the buggies to take you there. Just looking at the grid here, obviously we have Bryce Aaron on pole, we just talked about, but Mikkel Grundvig is starting second, and you just called him the reverse grid master.
Of course, yeah. I think he won, was it Alton or Silverstone? It was Alton from the reverse grid pole, and he's won his previous race last year from reverse grid as well, so he likes the reverse grids. Hopefully he'll start working his way up to making better use of the pace and be able to get that up there in the first 2 races, but he's a good shout. Front row, we've seen that the outside line can work around turn 1 and down the old hairpin, down towards the old hairpin, so we'll see what happens. It all depends on the start of the front, I reckon.
Well, I was going to say, it's going to be good to see some of those drivers that maybe have had unfortunate qualifying, unfortunate weekends already, and Tommy Smith in the Douglas Motorsports car, it's the blue car you can just see behind us here. I mean, you know, he had a really great battle with Nick Gilks, who's just behind us, and it's, you know, he's quite an aggressive racer, and it'd be good to see him, you know, starting up there, and obviously Brandon Oxley as well. And also David Morales, who has had a sort of unfortunate weekend so far. I mean, he had a collision with Nick Gilks in the first race the other day, so he'll be hoping to do some good stuff. Is there any other driver here that, you know, I'm sort of looking, you know, midfield here, maybe, you know, mid-top field here that maybe could challenge? You know, you've got Matthew Rees, you've got around here somewhere. I mean, you're a driver, you name a driver for me that you think could win.
For the win of the race, I think it's got to be from the front 2 rows, potentially the 3rd row if everyone else has a poor start. Normally around Donington Park, you can gain maybe if you jump a row at the start, so if someone's on the 3rd row like Tommy Smith or David Morales, actually Tommy's on the 2nd row, Morales or potentially Taylor, if they have a really good start, jump a row at the start, and then maybe the front 2 get tangled up, there could be an opportunity for a win there from someone else, but I'm looking at the front 2 rows. My money's on Aaron if he gets a good start. He's had some good starts, he's looked pretty racy, he did that
car as well, yeah.
Yeah, of course, that high-tech car obviously being very, very fast the last few races, and they've obviously found some pace as well in Browning, coming second in that last race, actually pushing for the win. So, yeah, my money's on Aaron with a good start, but it is all about the start.
Now, Jonathan Palmer is just behind us here. You might be able to see he's just shaking hands with the team at Fortec here with Joa Granfors. And we'll just have a quick word with JP. And Jonathan Palmer, the Chief Executive of MSB, we've just been discussing the Monaco Grand Prix and how a lot of these drivers will aspire to be racing at that Monaco Grand Prix. And in fact, we heard from some of the drivers saying that, you know, they would love to be there, or the Indy 500. And this really is, you know, where it starts for them. And, you know, if they win this championship, they go on and they're on the FIA ladder.
Well, exactly. The real reason that these guys are all out here trying to win the championship, win races, get podiums, whatever level they're at, is because they got their eyes on Formula One. That's why they're here. And the thing that we really have to do with these single-seater championships is provide a great arena, a great environment for them to learn their skills, to develop, to work with a team, to prove how good they are, and then actually showcase how good they are with people like, our TV show, you coming along. But it's really desperately serious. Behind each of these helmets, the guys are deeply focused. They know that their career and their chances of making Formula One depend on how they get in this championship. And that's why we have the championship prize being a 2-day test with the FIA Formula 3, the championship that runs alongside Formula One. It runs at Monaco as well. And that's what these guys are going to be looking for. And it's, it's deadly serious stuff. And the competition is very, very tough. I've seen the races so far, and it's been great.
Well, I was going to say, we came into the weekend, and it was sort of a 2-horse race, and how quickly that's changed. Obviously, with Joel Granfors and Luke Browning and not finishing that first race. Max Esterson has been someone that me and Piers have been chatting about having a great weekend, and he's now come into the picture. And I wouldn't be surprised next time out at Snetterton whether there's other drivers that make their way up there, and they're all challenging come the end of the year when we're back here.
Yeah, exactly. I think the thing with Max that it demonstrates that he's someone who's got great credentials. He came in racing here, and he's from the States, and it's a very tough arena, and you have to learn your trade, and you have to keep your confidence up, keep your motivation up. When you have indifferent average results, but you think you should be higher, which is frankly like a lot of people, you've got to just think, okay, not blame other things, other people, but I'm going to knuckle down, I'll work hard with my engineers, I'll try and drive that a little bit better, I'll learn from the environment, and then hopefully I'll make progress. And that's exactly what Max has done, and that was a really good win for him. He had a lot of pressure, but he held it off well, he drove beautifully, and I think that'll give him a big boost for the future now, and that's that sort of leapfrog forward. I said there are going to be people out here amongst the field. I reckon I'd put money on some of these drivers, at least one, making Formula One. It's that exciting.
And obviously with the GB4 Championship, which your brainchild, which we've launched this year, and we brought you some exciting races. That's kind of like a great stepping stone from karting. A lot of those drivers came from karting. I know Kean Shields in GB3 came straight from karting up until this, which has been incredibly impressive for him. But the GB4 Championship is a great, more affordable way to get onto that initial ladder with the hope to winning that championship and then making it onto this grid in GB3, and then, as you've mentioned, on from there.
Yeah, it's all step by step. And the guys doing GB4, with GB4, we've got a really affordable, the most affordable opportunity to come and graduate from karts, from Ginettas or whatever they're doing, and get into the first step of a proper single-seater on the way towards Formula One. And it has got to be as affordable as possible, because most of these guys just don't have big budgets. I didn't have a big budget when I started. I was limping along when I did Formula 3 from one race to the next, with a bit more money from here and a bit more money from there. That's how it is for most people, quite honestly. Most of the really great guys with super talent don't have shed loads of money to go and buy themselves the very best drives. So the chaps for doing, the guys that are doing GB4, they're going to be looking for their next step, and it's all about having your eyes on the next step. Is going to be to front run in GB4, top 3 in the championship, maybe top 3 or 4, and then they'll be wanting to be on the grid here. And because it's another competitive championship, as in GB4, they'll do a good job here. And it's just getting everybody just motivated, learning, proving, showcasing, to go step by step as you climb the Everest of motor racing.
And we've seen that with Valor Racing coming on, and with Daryl De Leon getting the 3rd place in his first race in the GB4 car. You can just see how attractive this championship is.
I think Valor Racing's introduction is fantastic. I'm thrilled they've come in. They've got it together, and you said talent comes through, both in terms of whether it's the driver or the team, and Valor have proved that this weekend, coming straight in. And that's inspiring for even a lot of others too, who can think, hey, we've got a chance here of getting on that first step on the route, and we can have Formula One stars in our eyes.
Yes, we are. So watch very, very carefully. Jonathan Palmer, the Chief Executive of MSV, thank you very much for chatting to me there. He has already walked off. The cars, as you can see, are going out now. So we're going to get out of the way. We're going to make sure that we don't get knocked over by Joel Granfors' car here. So I'll hand over to Lewis Mcglade for your full race commentary.
Well, cheers to John and John as we'll start the 9th round of the GB3 Championship. Now, starting on the front row of this grid, we said Bryce, Aaron, Mikael Grundtvig. Kind of said there in the build-up that Mikael Grundtvig is a bit of a reverse grid master, and that is very much the case in this race last year. Round 9 of the season, the 3rd race at Donington Park. This was his first ever victory, and in fact, when it comes to race 3s at Donington Park, I mean, I know, yes, he's done 1 full season. They had 2 rounds at Donington Park last year, but Mikael Grundtvig has a 100% win rate in this race. He won at the in round 9 of the season. He ran at the season finale as well, and looking to take his 3rd victory, or 4th victory even, of his GB3 career. There is Bryce Aaron waiting to start from pole position. It's going to be a tough race for him, of course. He's been working his way up the championship standings, had that podium back in Silverstone, finished 19th in the race earlier on today, looking for a little bit more this afternoon. A couple of other drivers to focus on a bit higher up that might well put in a good result here. Of course, Brandon Oxley's had a good bit of pace. Tommy Smith in that Douglas Motorsports car has been looking fast. There is also the likes of Zach Taylor, who's great on the starts, as well as John Bennett, who I do know, I had a chat with John Bennett a little bit before in the break between these 2 races, saying that he is on some fairly fresh tyres. They are scrubbed, but feeling very, very confident indeed for this race. So we'll have to wait and see what John Bennett can do from 7th position. But he's got a few cars to work his way up. It's not been the fastest weekend, unfortunately, for him after some throttle trace issues. Bryce Aaron, though, has everything to lose. He's on the front row against Mikael Grundtvig. Again, he's won 3 races, all of them in the reverse grids, and here is your grid. That is a bit further down the order, as Nick Gilks will start from the 22nd position, and that is from the previous race. Bryce Aaron, though, will start from pole position with Mikael Grundtvig alongside on the front row of the grid, and behind them will be Brandon Oxley and Tommy Smith. Whilst we're talking through all of that, Morales in 5th, Zach Taylor in 6th position, then John Bennett will start from 7th, Cian Shields from 8th place, Marcus Flack will start from 9th position, with Mackenzie Cresswell starting in the final position inside the top 10. Javier Segura in 11th, and then Nico Christodoulou in his first weekend in the championship will start from 12th. Tom Leben, who has rested himself inside championship contention, in 13th. James Headley, his teammate, will be alongside. Roberto Faria and then Luke Browning will start from 16th position, with Alex Connor. He's had 2 top 5 starts so far at Donington Park, will start from 17th position. Max Esterson, race winner in the previous race, will start from 18th spot. Then Callum Boysen, your winner in the opening race of the weekend, starts from 19th. Matthew Rees and Joel Granford in 20th and 21st, and the final position on the grid will be Nick Gilks. Now, my first question to Piers Pryor, who's worked his way all the way up here, is, now they were asking the questions, Monaco or the Indy 500, what's your answer?
Oh, that is a hard question.
Indy 500 for me.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
I'm going
my favourite race of the season.
I'm going Monaco, just because I think, as much as the Indy 500 is a precision tool, like you have to make sure that you don't clip a wall, you have to make sure that you don't get involved in any wrecks, make the mess of the tyres, but there's something about flying through a street circuit. I've never had the privilege of being able to do that in real life. I'd love to be able to do that. Done it on the sim plenty of times, and I love circuits like that where the margins are so fine. It's just another level of concentration, and if you conquer the Monaco circuit yourself, then you probably conquered it in front of everyone else. So I think that's my answer, just purely for that, the fact that it's just so fine margins.
Well, it certainly is one of those races that one of our 22, or pretty much, let's be honest, it's all of our 22, but one of our 22 drivers might well get to that point. All of the 22 drivers are aspiring to get to that level, and it all starts in races like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. The things they will be learning, the racecraft they'll be getting, the experience they'll be getting now, they will be using in Formula 1, Formula 2, official Formula 3 in the future. So it's all a part of the learning process.
Mikael Grundtvig, is he the man to beat in this race, having 3 wins from reverse grid races?
3 is it? I forgot the 3rd one. I know he had one this year, and they had
2 at Donington Park last season.
Of course, I've got the 2nd at Donington Park, but I think Bryce Aaron, if he gets a good start, you can see the advantage he already has with this staggered grid that we have here, 1x1 staggered grid. So if he gets a good start, there's no reason why he can't lead away from this race. He's been very consistent and gaining more and more experience with every race he does in this championship, and I can't wait to see how this goes. Let's see how the guys at the back who have been fastest this weekend get through the field as well.
It's going to be a tough one as we'll get ready for another 12-lap race here at Donington Park. Round number 9 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. There was a little bit of moving forward. I think that might have been from Tommy Smith. I'd have to double check that one, but race control will certainly be looking straight away. Great start from Bryce Aaron, who will lead down into turn 1. Brandon Oxley looking straight down the inside. He sent it on the Dane of Grundtvig straight away at turn 1. They'll roll side by side down the hill, but that was a great launch from our race leader in Bryce Aaron. They are still side by side, in fact, for second position. I think Tommy Smith's just gone a little bit wide, trying to get down the inside of Grundtvig, who is moving backwards. Decent start from Zach Taylor as well, who's got up into 5th position. And there is Marcus Black going side by side with James Headley, coming out of the old hairpin, still side by side of the hill. Tom Lebanon, Luke Browning are also going side by side directly behind that as well, rolling up to Mcglade around the outside of the corner. They're side by side all over the place.
It's 2x2. Side-by-side stuff. It's action still going on into Coppice here.
Yeah, that's Mackenzie Cresswell. Got Roberto Faria going around the outside at Coppice onto the Starkey straight on the run down towards the Fogarty S's. Whoa, who was that? A front wing with rear wing? It was the front wing of Faria being absolutely sent to the sky. He's now side-by-side. Luke Browning trying to go around the outside and just manages to make it stick. Crazy stuff.
Luke Browning around the outside of 2 cars there. That is an incredible move. So brave to not get pushed off there, but excellent stuff. Go on.
And 3 wide here. Javier Segura, you've got Morales in the middle of that. Also John Bennett making up on Zach Taylor. This is a crazy start to the 3rd race of the weekend. It's exactly what we expect. Zach Taylor heavy on the defence. There's Morales straight to the outside. A little bit of front wing damage to Javier Segura. He's got Mackenzie Cresswell straight down the inside. Now Radio Black car. And that is David Morales being pushed off wide by Zach Taylor. 3 wide onto the start finish straight. Javier Segura in the middle. Right hand side of his shot is Mackenzie Cresswell. David Morales on the left as well as trying to come through. It's Kean Shields getting past David Morales. Tom Leben as well trying to attack in the background. Absolute scenes here at Donington Park.
It's been non-stop since the lights went out and it's still side by side. We see Morales side by side with Shields again.
This is madness. Yeah, no, Leben there just trying to hang on at the moment. So Morales has dropped back, and that is Luke Browning trying to get around the outside. Oh my goodness. He's been pushed onto the grass as well. Now they'll roll up towards the Schwantz curve. He's at the outside of James Headley. This is breathless action in GB3 once again. And around the outside, Morales hangs on. There is Roberto Faria into the pit lane for the front wing repair. And there again, side by side. That's a risky move.
Browning is hanging it out on the line here today. He's done a move around the outside last lap into Fogarty S's. He went then, tried to go 2 wheels on the grass through Starkey's and then try and run the outside of Coppice. I don't know if that would work on the outside of Coppice.
Yeah, he's managed to... Oh, he's moved straight on though. Oh my goodness. He's managed to keep ahead of Headley for now. Headley's already straight line that. Headley straight to the inside. Browning though covers it off. Headley back to the outside. He's going to try and go around the outside. Callum Boyson also knocking at the door. Luke Browning with a straight exit. But look at that drive from Headley. Headley might well pick up that spot once again. Absolutely sensational. Headley's dropped back down the order a little bit. It's back for 12th place at the moment. Luke Browning again trying to stay around the outside. There was a little bit of contact as well as Headley is going to hang on.
This is high risk stuff from Luke Browning. I would have thought he would have been trying to just play it safe, but he's already had contact with 2 or 3 cars doing some risky moves. He's going to go for the cutback here. Looks like he is. Not quite got the drive at this point. This is some risky moves. I love the fact they're getting stuck in, but I must say, the amount of side-by-side action we've had and only a couple of small bits of contact with Faria losing his front wing, and it looks like Segura's front wing is now dislodged after that contact earlier on, so he's going to tumble down the order. Shame for the Carlin cars, which had a good weekend. Browning now, is that Browning past Leben?
No, it's Shields.
Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, they look very, very similar. Shields is still holding up from Leben. It's Leben up the inside. No, having a look.
Yeah, Javier Segura then dropping right down the order again for Luke Browning, obviously wanting to lead a championship, because not only for leading the championship for championship's sake as well, but also because the leader of the championship after this round, courtesy of John Cavill, will get a tour of the Red Bull F1 factory, which, let's be honest, when you're aspiring to get to that level, that is exactly what you want to do. Tom Leben defending just a little bit from Morales, but what a treat that would be.
Could be the introduction these drivers need at this stage of their career. That's Shields making a mistake there.
Yeah, it was. That was just a touch too much, touch too aggressive going through the chicane. Was that Shields or was that actually Browning?
No, that is Shields.
Well, either way, Callum Boyson get a little bit of tap though from Esterson. There was a little bit of contact, and then Alex Connors trying to work around the outside. Yeah, Browning's trying to be a bit racy here and is dropping back. He's got Joel Grampols as well to worry about. Matthew Rees straight down the inside. It's hard to keep up with everything that's going on right now. In this battle, Boyson's leading from Connor, from Browning, from Esterson as well. A group of incredible talent. Matthew Rees in there, Joel Grampols, Chris Dulu as well. Nick Gilks also involved in this battle. Around the outside, Max Esterson's going to go to try and pass the Luke Browning, but he's now actually going to drop back behind Matthew Rees, who's picked up the position straight away, heading down through Hollywood and the Craners, and now Joel Grampols is going to try and come through.
Joel Grampols has been very, very good in these reverse grid races, showing some great moves at Silverstone, coming through the field better than anyone else, and he's picking off people one by one, showing very mature driving. Let's have a look at this restart.
Yeah, we couldn't see there. I'm still pretty sure there might have been. Let's keep our eye here. Is that he crawls? It's not that bad though. What do you think of that?
That'll be whether the stewards, whether he crossed the line when he was rolling at the time of the start. Let's have a look. Whoa,
Leben straight off at Coppice and absolutely destroying the sponsors there, and he's going to drop right to the back of the grid. There's Matthew Rees trying to attack. That's Luke Browning, but of course those two not teammates just because they're very similar livery. Matthew Rees for JHR Developments, Luke Browning for the High-Tech Grand Prix. Browning defensive, coming down into the Melbourne hairpin, a little bit too deep though for Matthew Rees. Straight exit from Browning, who drives it off the corner lovely, and Joel Grampels is also trying to find his way past. Matthew Rees straight back to the inside, coming down to the final corner, but Browning is able to hang on.
I don't know if Browning's got some damage, maybe a bit of a bent steering or something, because it seems like he's been very erratic, and for a driver that we've seen that can be so consistent and so I don't know what the word is, can be so measured, yes. He's just had a very, very erratic second half of the race, or second half of this race as we have now so far. It's only 4 laps in. Ooh. Oh, Leben lost it on his own, just touched the grass. So easy to do, and absolutely annihilating that polystyrene board, as you say. No damage done other than positions lost in the race so far.
Yeah, that won't damage the car, will it?
No.
They're nice and safe out there. There is Nick Gilks with Chris Dudulu going side by side down the hill, one Canadian against another. We did have a good time to chat with Nick Gilks, who came up here to watch a certain other open wheel race with us a little bit. Obviously between races they're all keeping their eye, and I think they've all been watching it, let's be honest.
Absolutely, yeah. Monaco Grand Prix on actually as we speak, I believe, or very, very soon to finish. So thank you for tuning in. This is definitely the more interesting race, as I'm sure you'll all agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has been absolutely frantic. And Bryce Aaron leading the way at the moment by 1.7 seconds over Oxley, over Tommy Smith. Of course, he's recently had a train named after him. I don't know what he gets for finishing on the podium, but either way, another one would be a very nice treat for the Douglas Motorsports camp. Grundtvig behind, and then Bennett, who is charging, and he's only 3/10 behind Grundtvig as well.
Yeah, Aaron, excellent race so far. Got the start, pulled away, and he is checking out. Well done to him. Oxley looks like he's pretty settled in second, with Smith in third, so it's a very, very easy and calm front of the grid, and then not so calm at the back with moves left, right and centre. Looks like Browning's getting stuck in with everyone. He's gone forward, he's gone backwards. Rees is looking pretty racy as well, and then even Esterson trying to make some moves, but it's all settled down now. Let's hopefully we can see some more races going on.
So we've just received word that Smith has received a 10-second penalty for a false start, which I think we can, I mean, well, I call it, my eyes aren't that great, so yeah, if I can catch it on the start, I'm pretty sure everyone else can.
That is a real shame for Tommy Smith. That would have been his first podium this season, I believe.
No, second.
Yeah, one of course, because one at Silverstone. But, Rees at the inside of Browning. I reckon Browning's got some sort of problem, unless Rees took new tyres in this race. We'll just check our notes and find out. No, so they're both on used tyres here as far as I'm aware. So lacking a bit of pace now, Browning, it seems. So maybe he is a bit hindered after the contact he's had 2 or 3 times.
Obviously, I mean, Rees might have had scrubbed tyres. We kind of discussed this. It might be a bit of a strategy to kind of make sure that competitors don't know, but also to get that first sort of layer of resin off, right?
Yes, when the tyres are brand new with the stickers on and the resin, or what looks like a resin on the outside, it's more just the shiny bit from the mould when they come out of the mould. They do take about half a lap to scrub that mould off before you get some real heat in the carcass of the tyre. So some of the teams choose to run their first set of tyres for maybe a lap or 2 in qualifying, just to get that outer seal off, so that then they can warm them up quicker. Then they put their second set on for qualifying and do the qualifying run on that, and then they've got a new set effectively that hasn't got that outer layer on to allow them to be a bit better in the first lap or so of the race whenever they choose to use them.
Well, here's Chris Dudulu trying to attack the outside of Nick Gilks at the moment, and of course it's Chris Dudulu driving for Arden, so typically he'd be in a red and white car, but this is more of a black and yellow. It almost looks like an elite car, but it is not an elite motorsports car. He is driving for Arden now, trying to pass the hill speed of Gilks. Look to the outside there. Gilks just taking the kind of perfect line through the old hairpin to defend. He's sort of sat in the middle of the road, right?
Yes. All you need to do in this middle sector, if you're the car in front, is just hit your marks, make sure you don't make a mistake, get solid exits, and it's very hard for the car behind to overtake. We've seen that there's a bit of front wash. We watched on board, I think one of the laps, actually that was GB4, but you can take it from me. If you're following a car very close in those medium and high speed corners, you just don't have the amount of front grip that you need to be able to carry the same speed as the car in front.
Oh, a little bit too much curb there from Reese. They're all taking it. They're not scared of that sausage curb, are they?
Absolutely not. Oh, a move from, is that?
Headley, straight down the inside of Morales. So Headley's trying to make that spot up, but Morales playing his cards brilliantly right now. Just hang on, he's inside the top 10 is David Morales. He's not had the greatest season, has David Morales. Of course, had that podium with that excellent move around the outside. Of Gilks going at Alton Park, which was absolutely superb going into the island bend. But outside of that, really hasn't had that great of a season. Had a top 4, or had 4th place, top 5 at Silverstone, which sounds great. But the consistency's just not quite been there, despite what we saw in the very first race of the season, where he actually started inside the top 10. It's just not quite worked.
No, Alton Park is a very difficult and tricky circuit, but very different to Silverstone and Donington. Donington and Silverstone being very open, very flowing, very high speed, whereas Alton Park with the chicanes and the narrowness, it's a bit slower, so it will suit some drivers in different ways, some cars in different ways. Oh, we go side by side. Is that Browning now?
Yes, indeed, and around the outside. No, sorry, it's Kean Shields. Morales battling there with Kean Shields.
Yes.
And so that is a position picked up for David Morales. So he's up now into 8th position. Morales now ahead of Shields. Headley also involved in that. Then Voisin, then Alex Connor, and then Matthew.
Shields must have made a mistake, I reckon, potentially at the old hairpin, because I believe at the end of the last lap, the gap was a bit bigger than it. Well, it was far too far to make an overtake, so I imagine Shield must have made a mistake, I would imagine, unless he's got a problem.
It looks like he might have made another one, because that is Headley taking to the outside. It's a bit of a brave one to try and do, and is not able to do so, as Matthew Reese in the background is attacking Alex Connor. I agree with you, by the way, about Browning, because he's dropped right off the rear end of this. I think there might be some form of issue on Browning's car. There's Shields battling with Headley. Headley trying to get past there. Callum Boyden also behind in that blue and then red Carlin car. Matthew Reese still battling out with Alex Connor, so Matthew Reese might well have picked up that spot now and is working his way up the order in the background of that JHR Developments car. Little bit wide there from Headley, and this could be the opportunity to come back through for Kean Shields, but look at this from Callum Boyden, straight around the outside going through Hollywood, inside done. That was about as easy as it gets.
Yeah, he's practiced that move earlier on in the second race, first race of this morning on Sunday, but unfortunately didn't work from them, but today that worked. Oh
my goodness,
Shields front wing.
How did that go?
It must have gone wide again, and then maybe gone over the grass. We'll have a look at that. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that, because that was there is a front wing on circuit, potentially safety car if that front wing stays on circuit.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, obviously the cars run quite low. Could that have been the curb?
No, not that curb there. The curb through Schwantz is very, very flat, so there's no chance that could have taken the front wing off. However, if he has dropped another wheel or gone wide at the old hairpin, as we saw Voisin do this morning, and twice when he jumped, that jump, if you just hit you land wrong on the front wing, it can easily pull it off.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty dramatic moment, which is a bit of a shame for Kean Shields, your Silverstone winner. But thankfully for High Tech Grand Prix, they do have a car still leading the race. There is Kean Shields. And yeah, indeed, a very, very large shake. Tom Levin, though, getting down the inside of Krista Dooley. And Krista Dooley, obviously just out there really picking up experience. Had a great previous race, actually finished inside the top 10. And he's not going to let that one go. He's still going to try and fight his way back past, but I don't think that one's going to work. There is Morales and Mackenzie Cresswell. Morales, I mean, I was just dissing him a second ago. He's got great pace at the moment.
He's doing very well in this race, making some good moves. He's got some great pace.
Sorry, Mackenzie Cresswell's got some damage on the front wing.
See? He went wide. I know he went wide at the last corner, because he's also dusting his
right-hand
tyres. Let's have a look, shall we? See if we can see that.
Yeah,
yes, he has.
He is missing an element.
He's got, that front wing element is broken, so maybe he must have had contact then.
Yeah, but the thing is, he certainly wasn't with Kean Shields, because he wasn't close enough, and then front wing to front wing, I mean, let's be honest, that's not really going to work. But there is definite damage on the front end of the Chris Dittman racing car of Mackenzie Cresswell. I did want, because again, same thing. I was kind of thinking, surely he's not, Devin Morales is not close enough to get past straight away. But yeah, damage again.
Unless some contact earlier in the race with those side-by-side accidents we might have missed, maybe just weakened it, and then the rumbling over the curves has just dislodged it, which would be a real shame for Mackenzie Cresswell, because he had a good race. Let's have a look at the replay.
Well, this is back with Kean Shields. So that's where, it was just straight away, just a little tap there, and that's enough to dislodge the front wing, and then eventually it just goes.
That's all it takes. I think I've jinxed the whole GB3 field, because when Nick Gilks was up here in the comms booth over lunch, I said I've been very impressed with all the GB3 drivers. Very, very few front wing incidents, and we've seen about 4 in this final race of the weekend already.
Now that's a scary moment.
Yeah, that is. Also, that front wing nearly hitting David Morales, I believe. So that is another reason why we have the halo on these GB3 cars for that increased safety, because we don't want any strikes helmet. Morales looking the outside of Taylor now.
Yeah, he's trying to find the position. Whoa! Now his front wing's gone as well, because he's gone over those bollards. There is some in the way just to stop them from cutting that part. Morales is out. This could be a safety car.
This could be a safety car, and that could be the end of the race with only 2 laps remaining. That was a bit naughty of Zach Taylor. You can't force a car off the circuit, so that's really unfortunate for Morales. That's not his fault.
Indeed. Well, we'll take a look at a replay straight away. You talk us through this one.
So on the outside, Morales looking for the outside. We know it's not an actual move that you can do into Redgate, but Zach Taylor just squeezing him too much. You need to allow at least a car's width if the car is already there. So I feel really bad for Morales there. I think Zach Taylor will be taking a trip to the stewards. That's not really on.
Which is a shame, because Morales was such a good drive. I mean, I can't speak from a racing driver's point of view. It did seem like there was more than a car width there. It was tight, but obviously, you've got to give a car width and a little bit more. Yellow flags are definitely out, but no safety car joining the race circuit just yet.
They may end the race early. Let's keep an eye out. But there was probably a couple of inches, but I'd say that's pretty naughty from Zach Taylor, because you need to leave enough space safely for the car to be there. There's no need to squeeze a car right. If there was a wall there's no need to squeeze the car right to the wall. So I would imagine that, unfortunately, Zach Taylor will get a penalty, but hopefully he'll learn from that incident, because we don't want to see incidents like that, because that could, in theory, be quite dangerous with a front wing going underneath the car like that. It's if there's a wall there, that could have been a nasty accident.
I didn't realise those bollards were that aggressive, by the way. I didn't think they could rip off a front wing.
Well, the speed you're going at in that front wing is quite low. They're only holding on by 4 bolts, so anything that hits them, we're probably doing 135, 140 miles an hour potentially into Redgate Corner, so any object travelling at 140 miles an hour can do some damage.
Absolutely. Well, it's promoted a lot of people up in position. Luke Browning's on the cusp of the top 10 as they head round on a lap. Remember that Tommy Smith as well will be receiving a post-race 10-second time penalty, which will move him down the order and promote Mikael Gudvig onto the podium. Yep,
it looks like Voisin and Reese have actually had very good races up inside the top 10 there, with Browning in 11th. Granford's not made the moves he has normally. He's up a few places, but we've had a lot of incidents. Oh, side by side there, Kylan around the outside. Voisin again, he loves the outside line this weekend.
Yeah, he's given it a good go. And by the way, I did just note that there's been a 5-second time penalty as well to Headley.
Interesting. That's might be track limits.
It certainly is.
It is track limits, so that will be the exit of the old hairpin, exit of turn 1, or the exit of Mcglade. I think that was actually not Voisin going on the outside. That was Reese attacking Voisin. That's the last lap, so that is
Bryce Aaron. Yeah, Bryce Aaron then across the line to take his first victory, and that means that all 3 high-tech drivers have taken a win in GB3 in 2022. Brandon Oxley takes his first podium this season as the post-race penalty is applied. Mikael Grundvig does join him on the podium. Bit of a move there from Matthew Rees to try and get past Callum Boysen as they'll head their way across the line. Bit of a dicey moment. You've got Taylor there across the line ahead of Headley, who also has a 5-second time penalty, moves him down the order. It promotes the likes of Connor, of Browning, of Matthew Rees, all up position, so Browning inside the top 10 again.
Considering the drama that Browning had at the start of the race, he's done very well to get back into that position. He could have been 3 or 4 or 5 places high, because I think he was 3 or 4. I think he was ahead of Reese at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, either way, I'm not sure if that car was 100% perfect. We'd have to catch up with Luke Browning after the race. But either way, for the high-tech squad, despite some of the dramas, they'll be very, very happy. Bryce Aaron on top.
You did call it. You said this season we could see all 3 high-tech cars having a win, and here we are, with Browning having a couple, or more than a couple now. We've had Shields at the last race at Silverstone, and now Bryce Aaron taking his first victory this weekend, or first victory in the GB3 Championship this weekend in the reverse grid race. I'll let you talk through the results now, Lewis.
Yeah, of course, 2 wins as well, for, like I say, for Luke Browning and Kean Shields. And now Bryce Aaron on top of the standings at the moment at the end of this race. Brandon Oxley behind as well in 2nd place, and then Mikael Grundvig promoted up into the podium position. So we'll catch up with them post-race. John Bennett wasn't able to get past Grundvig throughout the entirety of that race, but did have a good start. Started from 7th place and went into 4th. Taylor behind in 5th place with Tommy Smith, Callum Boysen, Matthew Rees, Alex Connor and Luke Browning rounding out your top 10. The rest of the order, I know it won't appear on screen, but we can roll through it very quickly. Granfors, Esterson, Gilks, Leben and Headley 15th place. Krista Dooley managed to get into 16th place with Mackenzie Cresswell, Marcus Black, Javier Segura, Kean Shields, Roberto Faria, and then of course the late race retirement from David Morales. They'll all funnel their way back into the pit lane, and GB3 is done for the weekend. They all get to have a bit of a breather, and I think after a race like that, they need it.
Wow, that was an action-packed reverse grid race. That is exactly what we expect from the reverse grid, and why it's such a good format, because it shows it brings out racing that we sometimes don't see in single-seater racing often, because we've got the faster drivers at the back, the potentially slower drivers at the front, although the difference in pace in this GB3 field this year is so small that it doesn't make a huge difference, but it brings all the drivers together. The fact that you gain points for every position you gain means that they're trying hard, and we saw Browning with 2 or 3 very, very risky moves, but he managed to finish in the top 10. But Bryce Aaron, 20 points and the race win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, guys, they haven't done the podium for the race before.
A good way to end the weekend. I mean, you might well have your ups and downs through the weekend. You might not have a great race 1 or race 2, but a reverse grid like this, so important. That's why it was a bit of heartbreak for Nick Gilks to have missed out on it by such a tiny margin in qualifying.
Yeah, of course. We've got Mikael Grundvig there as well in second place. He'll be very happy with that. He likes the reverse grids, with now 3 wins and a second place in his reverse grid repertoire. And gutted for Tommy Smith. 3rd place on the road, but that penalty for a jump start will have hurt him dearly. And unfortunately, it's one of those things, you're trying to get the rev match, you're trying to get the clutch and the perfect biting point, you're trying to hold the car on the brake, it's easily done, but that penalty is unfortunately it won't be overturned, because if you're rolling as the lights go out, then that's it really.
It's simple as, it's clear cut. That's the big thing. By the way, it's 6 podiums now for Mikael Grundvig, 3 of which are wins, 2 of which are second places, and finally he has a 3rd place finish. It's his first ever 3rd place finish in GB3. Just a little bit of a fun fact out there. But my point is, in reverse grid races, he is so consistent with getting those podiums.
Absolutely, absolutely. You've got to make the most of it. If you haven't quite got the pace in qualifying, then your only chance of a podium really is that reverse grid race, and he makes the most of it, as Bryce Aaron did. Again, the start from the front row is always important, and they kind of kept out of trouble. All of the drama was much further down the field. I'd love to have a look back at the race highlights in a moment. There is Jonathan Palmer congratulating Bryce Aaron, our first-time GB3 winner.
Yeah, absolutely, and naturally you've got to speak to the big boss man straight after the race. If he comes up and has a chat to you, one John is slightly more important than the other John. But I'm sure we'll hear from Bryce Aaron in a few moments' time, courtesy of John Jackson. But always good to get straight out of the car, not only have your fan base there.
I'm going to have to break up the party. I'm so sorry,
but
JP.
also having
I hope I'm not
Jonathan
told off by
Palmer
the big
having
boss
a little
there,
chat.
I think it's for a good enough reason. Bryce Aaron, congratulations. We were talking just before there. You're on pole. Can you win from pole position? I mean, you were pretty confident, and look what you've done.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Really good. Very happy with that. Wasn't the ideal weekend in any means, but definitely happy to come back with that and salvage something. I have to thank everybody at High Tech GP. They did a great job, gave me a really good car. So much thanks go to them. Everybody that supports me, I have to thank them a lot. And all my friends back home in America that are watching, I appreciate them too.
Have we got a big following in Illinois?
I think so. My friends, I think I had a few of them say they were setting their alarms for this, so hopefully they're watching right now. And to them, I say hello and thank you. And I'm really happy right now.
In terms of the race, I mean, how did it go for you? I mean, were there any challenging moments, or were there any lapses of concentration where you were a little bit worried about that lead?
Yeah, actually, it's lap one going into the chicane. I went in a bit deep on the cold tires and bottomed out a little bit and got a bit worried because of that. Because that wasn't ideal. Got a bit, bottomed out, got a bit loose. Oops, sorry. And that wasn't quite ideal on the first lap. But then I saw we still had a big enough gap and kept pushing, and it was all right.
Okay, we're going to bring your father in if you'd like to just grab him, because I mean he's flown over for the race here. Please introduce yourself, sir.
I'm Jordan. I'm Bryce's dad.
And you've flown over from Chicago for this race, so you must be over the moon to be going back to Chicago, I presume, having seen your son take that last race win.
Absolutely. He's been working really hard, and he's deserved it. He's had some bad luck and finally got some good luck, and he's got the talent, the willpower, and he stuck through and won one. So good for you, boy.
Thank you.
Now, before the season started, I did promise Bryce that I would be getting him a Chicago Bears jersey if you win 3 races this season. So that's 1 race done. We're not even halfway through the season, so it looks like I'm going to be shelling out. I mean, which jersey do you want? The home one or the alternate one?
I think I'm going to go Justin Fields' home jersey.
Justin Fields' home jersey. Okay, you're a Bears fan as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, right. Well, that's a witness, unfortunately. Okay, well, I'm going to say congratulations, Bryce Aaron. Your race winner for the reverse grid race, along with his father Jordan here, coming over from Chicago to watch his son race, which is incredible for High Tech. First race win here in the GB3 Championship. Let's find second place. Here we go. Brandon Oxley, second place. Not a bad race for you.
Yeah, it was. I got boxed in at the start, but yes, second place. So I'll take that. A few points. So it's good.
Do you feel that you could have maybe caught him if you had a few more laps there, or was it more worrying about who was behind?
No, well, I couldn't even see who was behind in my mirrors. It was gone. A few more laps. I'd maybe get closer, but no, he was on it, so I wasn't going to challenge him today.
Well, look, that's a positive end of the weekend for you, and obviously for Chris Dittman Racing as well. Brandon Loxley, congratulations, coming second here. Let's find your third place driver. I mean, Piers, before you were calling Mikko Grunfig, what did you call him?
The reverse grid master.
The reverse grid master. Mikko, would you like to come over? Now, before the race, Piers here was just calling you the reverse grid master. Are you happy with that title, having come third?
Definitely, yeah, but I didn't really, when I crossed the finish line, I thought I was P4, but yeah, apparently there was a penalty or something.
Well, Tommy Smith got a penalty there for a start, which we'll discuss with him hopefully in a little while as well, and he dropped back a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, but I mean, I take it anyways. I mean, I took a chance in the start to try to get Aaron on the outside. Unfortunately, Oxley got on the inside of me, and then all the way down the hill to turn 4. I was like almost out to the grass, and I had to get off the power, and then Smith was on the inside for turn 4, so I couldn't do anything. But I mean, I think I was getting closer and closer in the end. The tires were also coming very late this time. So I think anyways, if we had 3 laps more, I think I could have a chance to overtake him anyways. But I mean, I showed I had the pace as well for being there, and some good race defending from, I don't know who was behind me, but it was some good defending.
You did very well. We were just chatting to Bryce there, and he said there's a lot of friends watching back home. Have you got a lot of friends watching back home in Denmark?
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, my family and my sponsors, everyone, my girlfriend and stuff, I think her family and stuff, I think they're watching, but as well some of my friends. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. And finally, obviously, your teammate, Joel Granfors, ends the weekend as the championship leader. Just a word on him?
I mean, about Granfors, what do you mean?
Would you like, well, I mean, he must be impressing you. He's the championship leader at the end of the weekend.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's great to have Granfors as your teammate, so I can compare with him all the time. He's doing a great job as well for the team and himself, and I think all of us, Zach, me and Granfors, is doing a good job together. And I think further we get in the year, more experience we all get, it will just get even better. So yeah, we had some tough weekends, like me and also Zach, I know, but now I hope it will turn around and go my way.
On the right track, Mikko Grunfig, third place today. Congratulations. We'll let you get to the podium in just a second. We're just going to bring in the fastest driver of the weekend. Obviously, at the end of the race weekend, we'll always speak to the driver with the fastest lap. I mean, Piers, you were obviously in the commentary there. Do you know what Max Esterson's fastest lap was around there? It was like 1:29 perhaps?
It was a 1:29, but I can't remember.
That's all right. Lewis,
1:29 is the GB4.
Sorry, that's GB4. Well, we'll bring Lewis Mcglade in just a second. We're just waiting for the podium, actually. Hilariously, we're double stacked on the podium. Max, just a quick word. Max Esterson, we've already spoken to you a couple of times. It must be nice to finish the weekend, obviously a very successful weekend, as the fastest driver.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we had pace all weekend and in testing on Thursday and Friday, so yeah, it's good to be fast, and yeah, I think we just got to keep it going.
Okay, awesome. It's great to take it into the next round at Snetterton. We're going to let you get to the podium now. Max Esterson driving with Douglas Motorsport there. We'll hand over to Lewis Mcglade. I'm sure Lewis will maybe be able to confirm the fastest time that Max set this weekend, and it was a lot faster than what I quoted because that's a completely different series. Here we go. Here's Lewis Mcglade with your podium.
Cheers, John. It certainly is a lot faster than John was saying. It was a 1:23.123. Nice easy one to remember there. Mikko Grunfig jumps into third position on the podium then, obviously taking that position away from the Tommy Smith Express, who's booked his ticket far away from the podium. Brandon Oxley onto second position, and then a win for Bryce Aaron, and a superb win it was, first in the GB3 Championship, and of course Jonathan Palmer handing out the trophies as well, as he typically does when Jonathan Palmer is out and about. And said before, having a nice little chat with Jonathan Palmer is one thing after a race, but being handed a trophy by the man himself is certainly a treat, which one will remember. And Bryce Aaron then taking his first victory of the season. Brandon Oxley and Mikko Grunfig in second and third. By the way, just to update you on the championship, because obviously we do have to wonder who is going to be at the top of the championship standings departing this round, because the championship leader, obviously courtesy of John Cavill, and this is both for GB3 and GB4, the championship leader at the end of this round will receive a tour of the Red Bull F1 factory. That is, as John said, Joel Granfors, 176 points ahead of Luke Browning, who's on 171, so 5 points clear at the moment. And Granfors actually, despite finishing one position below below Luke Browning. He's actually outscored him in this race, courtesy of having more positions gained in that race. There is Max Esterson, though, receiving a trophy for having that fastest lap of the weekend, a 1 minute 23.123. He has found so much pace in this championship so far. Before we get to any of that, though, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights from the round. Highlights then from the 9th round of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. As we got underway, it was a jump start from Tommy Smith from 4th on the grid, as he received a post-race penalty for doing so. Not a great start, though, from Mcglade Grimvig, and he would be worrying heading down into the first corner of the race. Bryce Aaron, though, would lead cleanly. A couple of cars going a little bit too wide as they were just pushing, going through the old hairpin and running up the hill. They were all side by side. Marcus Flack trying to get his way up the order. Side by side was the name of the game. David Morales was pushed out wide by Zach Taylor. Javier Segura able to get back through. Roberto Farrier into the pit lane for a front wing replace, and he would not be the only driver struggling with front wing issues. Tom Leben, though, would struggle with different issues going through Coppice, as he'd go for a bit of a 360 spin and destroy one of the sponsorship boards. He'd rejoin the race and was able to carry on and fight his way back up the order. James Headley struggling with a bit of grip late in the race. Same with Luke Browning, who was comfortably ahead of Joel Granfors, his championship rival, and he'd really have to keep the gap nice and comfortable through the race. James Headley battling it out with Morales. The two would touch a couple of times. Morales was able to hang on for that spot. And speaking of contact, Kean Shields receiving a bit of contact from Headley, trying to get up and underneath, breaking the front wing, and it would fly off the car just here on the exit of the old hairpin. Morales, or Alex Connor rather, was able to avoid that front wing flying his way. Speaking of his teammate Morales, and speaking of front wings, Zach Taylor squeezing a little bit going into the braking zone of Redgate, and David Morales would be out of the race in the gravel courtesy of that front wing issue. However, Bryce Aaron at the front of the field for High Tech Grand Prix would win the final race of the season, final race of the round rather. But we'll head down to John to catch up down in the paddock.
Well, we just heard those kind words from Mcglade Grimvig. His teammate Joel Granfors is the leader of the championship at the end of the weekend in the GB3 Championship by 1 single point. You must be pretty happy with that. We're not halfway through the season yet, but so far so good.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty close coming into this weekend. It was 3 points between us, and now after the DNF in race 1 for both me and Browning, just put us off a bit, because now Farah closed up quite a bit. But now, yeah, feels good.
And he had a few issues in that race there, so that must be pretty good for you in the long run.
Oh yeah, sure. Especially when we lost so many points in race 1. It's good to see that we can gain some back. So.
Now, Ollie Dutton, I mean, I always get your job title wrong, so I'll let you introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm Ollie Dutton. I kind of team manage the F4 and the F3, GB4, GB3 teams. Work very closely with the drivers.
It's been a great weekend for you.
It has, yeah. I'm unfortunate for Joel in the first race. Didn't think that it really needed to happen, but it was, bounced back strongly, and then a good race then for him to get some good points and lead the championship. So great for him, and we're just about to go out for the GB4s, but Nick's doing a good job, first and second. So yeah, good for the team and good for the drivers, so we'll see how we get on.
Excellent stuff, Ollie and Joel. Thank you very much. Your weekend is up. Well, your weekend's not quite done, but we'll watch Nicholas Taylor in just a second in the GB4 Championship. Thank you very much. We're going to see, Piers Pryor, co-commentator, former GB3 driver. We've been trying to find other drivers around here. Do we have any particular other drivers?
I can't see anyone else. I think it seems like everyone else is about, so...
I can see Luke Browning there. It'd be good to chat with Luke Browning. Do you want to go see if you can grab him? Okay, he's going to go see if you can grab him there. As I say, I think the GB4 Championship is the last race of the weekend. So basically what you've just seen in the GB3 race there, where they reversed the grid, that's happening in the GB4 Championship coming up at about 10 to 5. I think, correct me if I'm wrong in my ear, but I think it's around 10 to 5. Sometimes these races are quite fluid. Our live coverage starts at different times. But let's chat to Luke Browning here in a high-tech car. First of all, Luke, before we talk about your race, it must be great to see your teammate Bryce Aaron get onto the top step of the podium there.
Yeah, exactly. Big congrats to him. Did a great job. That's what he should be doing from there, and he did a good job to go and claim it, so big congrats to Bryce.
Now, looking at the championship at the end of this weekend, I think Joel has 1 point lead, so you're still neck and neck, very, very close. In fact, closer than it was before. How does that make you feel going into Snetterton for the halfway point?
Yeah, good. So unlucky once again with damage in that race, which just meant I couldn't get moving. I think I damaged one of the diffuser strays was split across the whole diffuser, so I was driving around. It was a little bit sketchy to say the least. But yeah, damage rotation again, so difficult to get out these races. I think I must have knocked it over the chicane and the curb, over the curb and the chicane. But yeah, no, it's a tight championship and it's nice to see.
And in the commentary there, I mean, Piers and Lewis were saying that you were still really pushing there, and you were not messing around. And is that how you approach the reverse grid race? Because obviously, if you're fast in the qualification, you get up there at the top of the grid for those first 2 races, but that 3rd race, you've just got to go all out.
It depends, obviously. I think points wins you the championship at the end of the day, and obviously going balls out all the time doesn't always work out that way. But yeah, no, it's unfortunately, if we could have stayed where we were at that point in time before we got the damage, that would have been great. I think we probably would have finished just ahead of Voisin maybe. So yeah, it is what it is.
And in terms of the grand prize overall, obviously that is a test in an FIA F3 car, a 2-day test in Spain. That's at the end of the championship. That's a long way away. But at the end of the next round, you get there is a prize that's from John Cavell, who sponsors and is involved in the pole position award. He's putting up a sort of trip around the Red Bull. I guess it's the testing centre or where they test all the cars. I mean, that must be something that's in the back of your mind. But a mid sort of season prize, is that a big incentive, or are you just still focusing one race weekend at a time?
Yeah, it's cool, but I want the trophy at the end of the year, so it's that's the main plan. But yeah, to be leading the whole way through would be ideal, but it doesn't always work out like that. And yeah, to have the misfortune that we've had so far and still be trailing by 1 point is shows how good our form has been when we've not had any issues.
An epic weekend for you and for the team at High Tech as well, Luke Browning. Thank you very much for chatting. Second in the championship, but only 1 point, Luke Browning there. And, well, the next race, as I say, in a couple of weeks' time at Snetterton. In the meantime, we do have one more race coming up. It's the reverse grid, as I say, in the GB4 championship. And that's coming up in a matter of minutes.